Hello there, and welcome to one of the first JD's Live Cigar Reviews. And as you can see, tonight it's actually 5 minutes after Christmas. As we record this, we're going to review the Perdomo #10th Anniversary Maduro. We've already cut this thing, so let's give it a light and see how it goes here. Now this is a 2-hour cigar. This is the Super Toro. So I'm not going to torture with a 2-hour video, but that's why I'm recording, so I can pause, catch up with you, and then we'll publish it after we're done recording. Let's give this thing a toast. Come on now. Now this is the 6x60 Super Toro, which makes it a challenge to get the whole foot lit, right? I've actually smoked one of these before, and it was a wonderful smoke. Now you hear some noise in the background. That's my exhaust fan, and you'll get to where you don't hear it anymore. But it moves the air out of this room in less than 60 seconds, or less than 30 seconds, and that's what you need sometimes when you smoke indoors. So pardon a little, noise in the background. Like I said, this is the Perdomo 10th Anniversary Reserve Maduro Super Toro. Now, one thing I can tell you right off the bat, this cigar is medium to medium plus, and right off the light, the retro hail is pleasant, which is odd for a cigar that's in Maduro. So that's wonderful. Plus it has rich, full notes of there's coffee, there's chocolate, there's earth, there's black pepper. With at least at first, a clean finish. Now this thing is going to strengthen as we go down the line for sure. And due to my crappy light, as you witnessed, I just may have to do a burn correction on this. I don't fault the cigar. Fault myself for that. So This is the first JD's Live Cigar review done in the studio, which is a lot easier to do than, you know, out in the wind or out in the dark somewhere. Very very pleasant smoke right from the start. Surprisingly mild at the light up. That's usually when pepper blows your head off with a Maduro or but this is a wonderful cigar. It's a huge son of a gun. I got this in a sampler pack. As I've said, I've smoked one of these before, and it was a wonderful experience. And I fully expect this to be a wonderful experience. In spite of my lousy light, I think it'll correct. I'm probably going to have to burn correct this thing. Again, I don't blame the cigar on that. It's, I believe it was my fault. Lousy light. I should have got a higher setting on my torch for this huge ass cigar. At least to me, it's a huge cigar. I know there's a lot bigger. But, we'll get her touched up. We'll get through the first third and let you know what we think. But this is a fine smoke. So we'll see in a minute when we get down the burn just a little bit. All right, we're back, and as you can see, I'm somewhere closing out the first third. I've had to do another burn correction. Now I figured something out about this particular stick, not Perdomo Reserve Maduro 10th Anniversary Super Toros, but this one. When I got the sampler pack, it was really wet. And it's only been in my humidor for about 5 days, and it's still really wet. Now it's looking pretty good after I did the burn correction there, but part of the problem is my humidor was at 70, which may be great for some climates. But I've discovered recently that here in the Sonoran Desert, where we have roughly 10 to 12% humidity average, and that's what it's been, you don't want a big gap between the relative humidity of the ambient air and the humidor. Because not only are cigars sensitive to, you know, it's not just about the number on humidity. What also affects it, the quality of the smoke, is the gap between the relative humidity of your climate and your cigars. Now, I made the mistaken assumption that since we're in the desert here, that I should have the highest humidity, you know, in my humidor. It doesn't work that way necessarily. You would think it does, but it really doesn't, I've found out. So This cigar is too wet. That's why I've had the burn issues, and that's why I can't get any smoke out of it. I'm hoping as we progress down the burn, the cigar internally will heat up more and produce more of the wonderful flavors I know exist in this thing, and more smoke. And that is already starting to happen. In spite of all the problems, a pretty good looking ash. We got a couple of issues right here with it, right? And I think it might fall off, which I don't want it to do in the studio. So I'm going to go ahead and... Okay. I manually ashed this stick, and we've got a pretty funky looking, burn going on. But I think this bad boy is getting ready to settle down for me here. So let me continue on into the second third, and I'll be back with you with more of a report on this Perdomo Reserve 10th anniversary Maduro. We'll see in a minute. Actually, it'll probably be immediate for you. I'll be back. Alright, so we're back, and it's time to take the band off this bad boy. And the problem is, I really haven't been able to get much smoke out of it. So now I'm not blaming my less than perfect light. What I'm blaming is the high content of humidity within the cigar itself. So what I'm going to do probably in the future is get one of those humidity checkers that checks your actual stick. And I think if we could check this one. Excellent looking band. It's just a beautiful cigar. Again, I'm not going to fault the cigar for these burn issues I'm having. I think the cigar is too wet, and so therefore I should have let this thing sit out in a dry box for a few days. And the other Perdomos I bought with this pack, I will certainly do that, and let them, shed some of the extra moisture. So it's really does affect the overall flavor, the experience, because the first one of these I had was in better shape than this one, and it was an absolutely wonderful smoke. And so I'm trying to burn correct this thing without scorching it, which is a trick in and of itself, as most of you know, particularly on a too moist cigar. So let's see if that did us any good here. Now we're starting to heat up the cigar a bit and dry up some of that moisture, and we may be able to enjoy the last part of this stick. But lesson learned. For you beginners that are watching this video, hey, hope you picked up on the mistakes I've made. Once again, I do not blame this cigar. This cigar punches way above its price. You can get one of these for about $10. $11 retail, and it normally competes with more expensive cigars as far as the overall experience. Obviously, in this case, I'm having issues, but again, I don't blame Perdomo, and I don't blame the blend or the quality of the cigar or anything like that. But it is now starting to cook. We're going to smoke her down a little bit more and join you about halfway through the last third and see if we can't get an enjoyable experience out of this. So I'll be back in a bit. Alright, we're entering the last third of this cigar. I want to ash it because I don't want to mess up my studio. And it was pretty firm on the let go, so that means it would have held on for a little while. The cigar is just now starting to begin to shape up a little bit. So again, I don't blame the cigar, I blame the amount of humidity in the cigar. And I'm hoping to get a little warmth into it. And I think I'm going to have to do another burn correction on it. So it's really quite unfortunate. I feel like I've wasted this cigar. Because it comes nowhere near the experience I first had with the first one of these I had. We were out, there's a bunch of us out in a campfire. We're all smoking cigars, and I just enjoyed every puff. And this one, I can't get any smoke out of it. And these things are known to smoke like a chimney, so I know it's too wet. So the ones that came with this are going to come out of the humidor after I finish this video. And I'm going to leave them out in the dry box for a few days, and then put them back in the cooler door and see if that doesn't improve the experience, you know, because I already know this cigar is way better than this. And so I'm certain that's the issue. It's just too wet. And yeah, Perdomos never burn like this. And I've had two Perdomos prior to this, a Lot 23, and this exact cigar, which I already raved about. Yeah. No so bueno. So, I won't bore you, but we're going to come back when we get into pre-nub or nub territory. Because I have a feeling that once this cigar fully comes to temperature, that I'm going to be able to enjoy the last bit of the cigar, and I'll let you know, obviously. But so far, really disappointing. But again, I don't blame the stick. See you in a bit. Alright, we're back with the attempted review of the Perdomo Reserve 10th anniversary Maduro. Now, here we are, still having a burn issue, a slight one. It's not as bad as it was, and as you can see, it's time to ash again, and I'm going to yet again do another burn correction. I can report that through the last third we did get, some of the characteristics of that I remember from the cigar, which proves my point that the fault of this experience is not the cigar, but the cigar being way too wet. So we'll do the subtitle on this one is being lesson learned. And I would not shy away from this, trying this cigar, based upon what's happened here, certainly. And normally Perdomo's an absolutely wonderful in construction and consistency, so I know this is a humidity issue. Now, when my humidor was up at 70, it was so wrong that certain cigars that I would smoke out of there would produce so much oil that it left a kind of a tangy, unpleasant aftertaste, and it was through 3 different brands. That's what cued me to tone down my humidity. And although now it's only taking a triple puff to get a satisfying amount of smoke from this stick, it still lacks the characteristics that I remember, at least in the full amount. Although I must say, it has improved considerably now that nearly 5 inches of this stick has been smoked. So wow, right? There's now enough heat in what's left of this cigar to actually produce a adequate amount of smoke and at least some of the flavors that we should be getting. Tonight's pairing, for such as it is, was the Topo Chico Twist of Lime, which it's a green bottle, so you can't see the bottle very well with my green screen, but it's kind of cool. I like to do that. So anyway, okay, that was the first time that I got probably 70% of what's normal for this stick as far as flavor notes and smoke output. So this is all confirming that the cigar is too wet. Again, not the fault of this fine smoke. So as you may or may not know, the wrapper leaf is where you get most of your flavor notes. And when it burns unevenly and there's uneven combustion within a cigar, it really hurts, even if it's just at the beginning, because that smoke has gone through and permeated the entire stick. So it's going to basically diminish the quality of your experience with a cigar such as this. So if you're a beginner, I suggest you pay attention to the gap between your ambient humidity and whatever's in your humidor. And the bigger that gap is, your cigar is gonna not behave as it should. Now, I don't know the scientific reason for that, but I do know that it's true to experience. So this is starting to be, at this late date, a desirable smoke. And I might add, we've blown through this cigar due to my incessant puffing, trying to get a little bit of satisfaction out of this stick that used to be this long. We're now at 1 hour and 20 minutes, and the first one of these that I smoked, about down to here, took 2 hours. So there's the difference. Even though it was a much drier conditioned cigar and a much better shaped cigar, because of that, it smoked another 40 minutes longer. So, and that's counterintuitive, because you would think a wet cigar would smoke longer, but not if you got to puff the hell out of it just to get any smoke out of it. Yeah. We're going to subtitle, like I said before, we're going to subtitle this one as Lessons Learned on Humidity. I'm going to do it. My upcoming video is going to be on my new humidor. It's the Need One. Very clever marketing name for a company, right? The only way they can get more clever is say Need Two, which I'm already thinking about. And why I'm going on and on about this Need One is because it not only has temperature control, hot and cold, but also humidity control, that you don't have to add water constantly. It has its own water recovery and moisture recovery system. And you don't have to add any more water after the first go around, until, of course, it stops maintaining the humidity, which in initial reports, I've had mine running for a week, and it hasn't shown any signs of not being able to maintain the humidity. But of course, the sticks you have in the unit are going to take a lot more time to adjust than the unit does, because there's very little cubic inches of atmosphere within the humidor that it has to maintain, so it can adjust very quickly. I open the door, pull out the drawer, putz around a little bit, put it back in there, and within a minute or two, it's at the same humidity at least in the air that it was before. It's really quite amazing. Okay, and now the effect I'm getting now, even though the cigar is nice and hot and producing smoke, is that entire stick of being smoked too wet has diminished the quality of the nub, which I don't know about you, but that's my favorite part of the cigar. So a disappointing experience. Once again, not the fault of the 10th anniversary Maduro by Perdomo, which I know to be a fine cigar. So that'll be it for this one. Thanks for watching, and in the future I'm going to have an affiliate link for another type of product. More to come on that. So watch for the next one's coming, and tell your friends about the YouTube channel. I hope you enjoyed it, and Merry Christmas. A little bit late, and the burn time on this baby ended up being 1 hour 25 minutes, a full 35 minutes short of my first experience. So with that, it's JD with JD's Live Cigar Reviews, signing off for now, and we'll see you next time with the next stick. And just one more comment. After smoking this Super Toro, I'm not satisfied, and it makes me want to smoke another cigar. I mean, that's amazing to me. Being a 6 by 60, 64ths of an inch in diameter and 6 inches long. To me, that's a big one. So anyway, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.